What's up YouTube, and we're back with a lovely new deck concept that's basically fresh out of the oven. So Spain just played this deck list at the grand finals of the LoR Masters Europe tournaments just a few hours ago. I net decked them immediately. I wanted to try it out on the ladder. So they went 1-1 I think, and EU Masters I went 6-0 with this on ladder, and at the same time also hit the Masters rank on my Smurf account on the North American chart. So I'm pretty convinced that this list is strong and also competitively viable. Some people even brought it to the seasonal tournaments and have had some pretty strong results with it. So at first sight, this is very reminiscent of the old Corina Ledros control lists, Shadow Isles PNZ, most of the deck just being removal. But the difference in this one is that it can very much play for tempo, and it also has a strong early game in units like Burgeoning Sentinel and Buhru Sentinel. The fearsome keyword is also just incredibly strong in the current meta. All of the Bandle city small units and a lot of decks in the current meta only have access to a lot of chump blockers but not a lot of fearsome blockers, and that ensures us to get some early chip damage in, or mid-game chip damage, and that makes it much easier to close out the game either with a Ledros into an Atrocity or just Vi Atrocity for 10 and maybe 1 or 2 burn spells. I'll just go over all of the cards and explain why they're in there. I already kind of explained the Sentinel cards. They're just overstated. They're a great way to keep up the tempo and basically keep up with the power creep of the most recent expansion. And we play Elise, still one of the most solid 2-drops in the game. Just fearsome early damage tool, also generating more blockers, just good stat value. Aloof Traveler is one of the better flexible control tools, let's say, in the current meta. Of course, a bit expensive for the stat line, but just a very good card at slowing down your opponent. And we usually need the game to go a bit longer, right? We usually need to get to like turn 9 or 10 to close it out. Then we have Vi, also an amazing champion in the current meta. There's not a lot of hushes, there's not a lot of freezes, and only some amount of mini-morphs. Also, if Vi gets mini-morphed, they're paying 1 more mana than you are, and you still have a 3-3 on the board. It's really not all that bad. But at the same time, Vi just challenges and threatens most of the key cards in the current meta, most of the key champions, or stuff like Bandle City Mayor, Eye of the Dragon. Just a very versatile removal tool that often also trades for 2 or 3 units before she dies. And in this deck, Vi of course is also a great finisher when paired with Atrocity, for example, or just leveling up and pushing Nexus damage. We have a card I have never used before, Death and Ada. This fills an important gap in this deck because this deck does not run any real AoE removal, and Death and Ada is just a great way of stabilizing in the mid game. One thing I just found out while playing is that it doesn't just cast 1 darkness that deals 2 to everything on the opponent's side, but you cast 1 darkness for 2, and then the whole board gets hit again for 2 damage. So basically 1 unit can get hit for 4 damage, or for 2 damage twice if you need to pop a barrier or a spell shield. Of course, Death and Ada comes onto the battlefield a bit late for the AoE to be super impactful consistently, but of course we can stall the game very effectively. We can set up the board for a big Death and Ada board wipe. And the last unit we have in here, good old-fashioned Commander Ledros. Just a super strong win condition after stalling the game for most of the early and mid game. And now for spells, I'll start with the potential offensive spells first. We play some amount of burn, Mystic Shot, Aftershock, and Atrocities. Of course, Atrocity, the most reliable finisher. Mystic Shot after some Ledroses got played, very effective as well. Aftershock deals super effectively with Bandle trees and Thralls in the current meta, sometimes even Warlord's Horde. The reason to play this over something like Get Excited or Gotcha is for Get Excited we don't really have discard fodder, and we don't really have enough draw or an abundance of resources to discard stuff. And for Gotcha, we just don't play enough main deck card draw, it's overpriced, and we often want to send this damage to the face of our opponent. And now for removal tools, we have some classics. We have Vile Feast, we have Thermo Beam. Despair is a great tech in the current meta, especially if you're facing a lot of Namis, Vegars and Sennas and so on. The box is great against Poppies, against all type of Bandle City Swarm decks, also great against Scion, discard Scion. Then we have Grasp, also great against Scion and Poppy mainly. Withering Mist, great, absolutely great against Bandle City decks. And a one-off Ruination as a an emergency button, basically, if the board state ever does get out of hand. I should note right away, Vengeance is not being run just because it's too mana inefficient, too slow in the current meta, and we'd rather remove single units through cards like Aloof Travelers before they get played, or with Despair or Vi. Just much more mana efficient and more reliable. And last of all, for the mulligan, you need to keep in mind if you have to go aggro, basically, if you need to push damage early, or if you're the full-on control deck. So you always want to keep matchup-specific removal against your opponent's key threats. For example, Mystic Shot against the Bandle City Mayor. But if you're playing against another control deck, you will often be looking for cards like Sentinel, Vi, or if you're playing against Bandle 3, for sure Aftershock, and probably also Aloof Travelers. Despair against Vaegir. Just if your opponent has a key threat, look for the answers. Against aggro, it's kind of the same thing. There you also focus a bit more on removal, but you also want the early units here. Against slow matchups, especially knowing they play a lot of aloofs, you could even keep stuff like Ledros in hand because you need multiple copies, or matchups where you know you can only win through Ledros eventually. So if you like playing control-oriented decks, this is definitely a great opportunity for you. This one is very, very fun to play. It has a lot of interaction, a lot of points of decision, and it also feels strong because it can keep up at any point of the game. Like, most control decks fall behind immensely in the early game, but due to the 1 mana 3/3 basically, or 3 mana 5/4, or 2 mana 3/4 here, with Fearsome tags, we can also kind of keep up and play for tempo. Then we can slow our opponent down with cards like Aloof Travelers or Vi, and then we can go over the top in the end. So very flexible, interesting playstyle. And yeah, as always, I have a bunch of gameplay examples for you. Feel free to check them out. Enjoy.
Is it the mustache? Who knows?
What? Fast speed Despair? I mean, Aloof is just gonna be nuts in this matchup. What's she eating? A lemon cake. I'm surprised Lobster isn't playing the 9-0 Poppy Bronze Spice. I will. I just got inspired due to the recency of this deck. Frickin' 4 mana Viego. I'm not sure if it's worth playing Aloof here, but I don't really have plays. Can't really take the hit. I suppose we could hit another Viego, right? He would be turned into Despair, also cost 4 right now.
You dropped something. I dropped everything!
That's a card I didn't expect to see. I mean, I guess we could have still hit a Snapvine or a Rekindler anyway. Harrowing is wild. Thermo Beam's also a really good draw. Do you think LoR can make competitive play incomes more sustainable while still feeling inclusive? I find this hard to answer because it's subjective. Like, until what point do you feel something is still inclusive? That's something that every player needs to answer for on their own. The thing is, for Riot, it's not paying off financially anyways. The question is, like, does that help the game grow enough? I think I bopped this immediately because otherwise my opponent can play Mists or like develop a unit and glimpse it. It's a high chance that this doesn't go through, but gotta try.
Do I have to?
I mean, it's a good question. It's always a fine line, though. I think they already did a very good step by by changing the seasonal format, right? Because if your main and only goal is inclusivity, the 5 rounds, open rounds for the seasonal tournament make way more sense. And therefore, I'm already happy that they changed to what it is right now in the first place. Like, the 9 round is already way, way better for competitive players, right? I'm thinking about Mystic shotting this first because it probably gets nopified. Also looks a bit trolly though.
Can a spirit fight to the death? Thinking I'll learn soon.
Its esports scene isn't inherently profitable yet. Yeah, not directly profitable, right? It's profitable indirectly by making the game grow. To damage darkness. This could be a giga mind game. If they now have twin disciplines or like a nopify for this, I'd be like, damn. Purpose of playing Descent Ada? This doesn't really have AoE removal. Descent Ada is some solid AoE removal. Bye-bye Hydravine.
Look, a thing.
L, that's not ours.
Damn it. I tried.
Nagakabura sends her blessing.
Daniel, right, Daniel, DeMarcus and Ada. That was actually hilarious. That was epic. Dejan and Ada. Do you ever think you'll offer mustache coaching, or is it just a natural born skill? Unfortunately, it's all genetics. Maybe I should do like a beauty blog though with product recommendations. My daily hair routine. But it's really not that much. Would be like a 2-minute video, and then I wouldn't have any content.
Long road behind, long road ahead.
Descent Ada is not that good here. I do want to play Ledros next round. Ever pass? Don't think I do.
Here comes Piltover's finest. Oh, stop. Boom.
Is that worth it, or do I go full send? It's probably worth it. And again, Ledros next turn. I think let's greet this. I feel like that 1 damage might make a difference later on. What? That's the first time I'm playing Descent Ada, that's why I have to read the text first. Okay. So it's a darkness and then it deals 2 to all enemies. Whoa! I didn't know. Sweet.
They've got bad guys. Guess that's it.
But that makes the card much better than I thought it would be. They've got swagger though, not gonna lie. I wonder what this rifle is supposed to be though. It kind of looks like a mixture of a pump gun and a sniper rifle with a scope. I don't know.
Looks like I'm ready. Bye-bye.
Tommy gun? I'm pretty sure Tommy guns look different. Kind of like not playing Ledros. It It deals 7 but gets blocked anyway. I very much like removing these. I'm scared though, knowing that my opponent runs Ruinations. Shotgun Sniper makes sense with a card targeted at AoE effect. Good point there, Lazy Kiwi. Oh, it is a Tommy gun. They have that magazine right here. And this is, at the same time, this is also like a mixture of a, I don't know, a machine gun or something, and it also has a scope. Or like artillery? I feel like if I Mystic Shot, I tank a Ruination. Full swing right now is pretty decent, right? This blocks here and it blocks here. That scope is useless, you can't look into it. That's actually a very good point. Like, imagine how you would have to hold it to have your eye here. Even this is already debatable. Already discarded one Ruination. It looks like they're keeping it open though, right? The way they're playing. Wait, we're getting the Hydra Vine for free? Surprised. Or they're setting up Harrowing. Oh, if that draws a slow speed spell, I think it's guaranteed to be one of the two.
There's nothing to fear.
Hold up, that's an 8 mana 7/6. That flocks a unit, avalanches all other enemy units. How has this card not seen more play? It comes down too late. Flock is very good because it's so mana efficient in early turns and swings the tempo. Avalanche is so good because it's a great anti-aggro tool. And a lot of port states on turn 8, Avalanche plus Flock doesn't really matter much anymore.
Oh, dark.
Hope you've been well less than 3.
Mav, thank you so much. Yes, I've been great. Thanks for the sub, appreciate it. What have you been up to recently? I think I saw you streaming something, but I don't quite remember what it was. And goddamn Viego levels here. Okay, at least Senna got milled. How do I not die here? So Ledros, I can block these two. Valfeast this. Something blocks one of the mists. I tank 5, 11. Yeah, that's actually fine. And then next turn I can Ledros into Mystic Shot, hoping my opponent doesn't have healing. While on stack doesn't make sense because my opponent spawns an additional bigger unit. Like then they would have gotten a Senna. I suppose I would have had one more blocker that I do see, but then they also have one more attacker. Right, then it's 6 attackers, right now it's 5 attackers. Can't greet more, right? Let any of the others go through. I'm dead?
Come, stay a while.
Right, because he spawns another one and the mists grow. That's it. Don't worry, guys. The mists become 7/7s no matter what. As soon as this dies, these become 7/7s. Ooh. Okay, it is a full-on role-playing deck. We're back to hoping our opponent doesn't have healing. Yeah, Grasp is losing for sure. Full send, full yeet. Top deck Atro. I'm not sure how... Oh, you mean for my opponent? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they also run Atro. Although there can't be space in this deck for Atro. Realistically speaking. I mean, my opponent's surely playing Vilefeast in this list, right? Ay, ay, ay. Do I just rip it? I can soft pass by attacking first. What an interesting game. That's a very fun matchup. Why? You would have stolen the Ledros. Let's go, baby. That seals the deal. Winning against the leveled Viego. GG's. Just straight net decked. Alright, this should be a very bad matchup on paper. 1-3. How good is box? Pretty good, right? For like a big turn with Sandstorm chargers and everything.
Well, I did say I wanted to see the world.
I believe making Kindred a 4-mana champ would make her viable? Yes. Well, then she'd be kind of like Yasuo, though, to be honest. Is she better than others? There's no Shadow Isles mid-range. This turn is either Merciless Hunter or the Core and Vagabond. That's why I think open attacking is better.
Gotta find a gift for Renekton, right, Arda?
The sea is too shallow a grave.
Little further, bingo. We love it when they run.
Oh, baby. I think pass is too greedy. It's probably missed. It's almost impossible that both of them get saved. And that does give Waking Sands into pulling the Buhru. I think that's still fine for me. What about pass? The thing is, if my opponent's good, they'll click end round. Not sure how aware they are. Oh man, I want to risk it real bad, but I'm pretty sure this is the correct play. Like the GTO play, game theory optimal. Why would I pass? Because I don't think my opponent plays Merciless Hunter on this to pull with the Merciless Hunter. I think they really, really, really want to play Waking Sands this turn. This is perfect aloof turn. Turn 5, my opponent wants to play their 5-drop and I'd be like, nah, not in my house. Love it.
Don't want to die? Don't do terrible things.
Yeah, sharp side is good, but what can you do?
Oh, come now.
You never.
In and out.
Show me your combat tricks. Ah, not the most efficient way, but we'll take it. Okay. Could save a loop for the predict, but I don't think it's good.
Look, a thing.
L, that's not ours.
It's probably all like cheap spells or units and combat tricks. Could be a golden Aegis in there. I like playing Elise more than Buhru Sentinel here. It's generating that extra spider.
In the shadows.
I got Death and Ada next turn. I don't even have to swing. So to the person who was asking earlier on why we play Death and Ada in this deck. Just watch it. Just watch this.
Here comes Piltover's finest. Stop.
3 mana, 3/2 darkness generator would be viable in this deck? Absolutely not. Horribly inefficient.
They've got a ghost shot. It's a trap.
Cracks go, bag loot. She gets it. Knuckle time.
Well, nice lucky find you have there. Masters! We did it! And this is a regularity at this point that I hit Masters on an A like just at the end of the ranked season. Super duper late. What's the rationale of Fizz Nami instead of say Zoe? Okay, look at this lineup again and think if you notice something. So my decks were Draven Scion discard, Zoe Lee Sin, and then I want to play a Nami deck. Bilge! This looks like outdated Bandle tree. Which means I should mulligan for Aftershocks? Man, if this is an aggro deck and I'm mulliganing Thermal Beam away, I cry. One getting stutters. I don't know. Internet on my end right now looks stable, but generally it can always be on my end. BBC's Sherlock Holmes, I already saw that as well. Pose, I have never heard about.
There's nothing to fear.
Starts with mushrooms.
And Liz probably plays Pokey Stick and maybe also Make It Rain.
The sea is too shallow a grave.
I don't know about Sentinel in a Mayor turn, but that at least ensures I get a good chunk of damage in.
I should make a speech. Where's my speech?
Oh wow, his mustachiness himself!
So Poppy next turn is the scare card. Really scary scare card.
Oh, I got big plans for this place. Time to collect.
Armed and ready!
Come, stay a while.
Random egg. Alright, I guess I might play one more game after this one. Yeah, this looks a lot like Bandle tree though. Old school Bandle tree. So probably Pokey Stick Buster Shot for removal. Mini Morph. Maybe Group Shot. Maybe make it right.
I'm doing this my way.
Yeah, the fearsome keyword is kind of carrying right now. Almost looks like my opponent wants to play Poppy here. It's way too good to pass up on. Harpoon? Could be attack choice, but feels very wild in this list with no real access to plunder triggers. Poppy or Tree most likely, right? I feel like Poppy would have been played last round. Tanner? Okay, sure.
Swiftly!
A tribute to the
Alright, we might be able to snipe out a tree here. Or a mini morph would also be good.
Did it. Yay.
But our stuff did it.
Ranger. Okay. Alright. I notice a lack of fearsome blockers on my opponent's end. Group shot? Elise, right?
Hit 'em where it hurts. Trouble coming at ya.
Good top deck here. And that tree progression was pretty darn fast. Turn 6 already 8 out of 10.
Not today!
Group shot here. Oh, double group shot would be scary. Okay. Whew. Poke stick, yeah. Alright, we got it.
Enforcer down.
What's this? Back to Corina? I mean, do you see a Corina in this list? There's a new Corina in town, apparently. How's the deck performing? 6-0, I think. GG's.